first off, this is kind of being more of a candidate profile kind of thing, as we're a few days away, not so much policy. I've spoken with two of them so far, and I've got you and Garrett today. So just wanted to first just check it. Kind of, it's been a long campaign. It's been an unusual campaign across the board. Kind of where are you at with 5 days to go? How are you feeling, and do you feel like you've gotten your message out?
I'm feeling at peace first and foremost, which is a good place to be, because there's so much you can worry about, but why worry about the things that you can't control and focus on the things that you can do to make a difference? And we've been doing that. We've deployed every resource that we have to get our message out. I've been on the campaign trail the longest of any of the candidates that are now in the race, and we've put in a tremendous amount of work, tremendous amount of miles, effort and energy, reaching people across Michigan. So I'm at peace. I'm excited for the next 5 days. We're going to go full throttle all the way to the end.
And now I'm sure you, whenever you got into the race and your reasons or whatnot, has anything changed the more that you've gotten around the state, talked to people? You've had your outlook and stance, but then have you been able to mold it a bit or anything like that as you talk to people?
Great question, and yes, it has evolved because you meet people and you learn certain things or different viewpoints and what people are concerned about. Here's one thing, that we have a big state, a very big state. And as you travel around areas in the Upper Peninsula or northeastern Michigan, southwestern Michigan, everywhere in between, there's a little bit of a difference of what people in that specific area either have focused on for the issues they're dealing with, or things that you've never really understood before on how things operated. And yes, so it's grown and evolved by listening to the people across the state.
Now, this has been a race of outsiders, but I mean, holding a position like this that you've never held, how do you feel, why can people be confident you can handle something like that with coming from just real estate into the governor's office?
Here's an exciting fact for you. Every single person that has become the governor was never the governor before. So there is that we all have to go through our journeys to get to where we go. And there's certain levels of experience that definitely help. Being a small business owner is extremely beneficial in this instance. And also being somebody that has not been, let's call it, maybe tainted by special interest in the swamp, if you will, along the way. So I'm not a career politician looking to work my way up and maybe one day I'll be governor. We're in this fight right now to make sure we protect our country. And I look at my 6 children and know that we have to get this right now, otherwise we'll lose out. The experiences that I bring through business, the experience that I've brung through actually holding a job. I worked for AT&T for 10 years, so yes, I've held a job. Yes, I've built companies. Yes, I've had employees. Yes, I've worked with independent contractors. Yes, we've done big real estate projects. Yes, we've built large companies, opened offices all over the country. And so those experiences, plus the knowledge of the Constitution and the right moral compass to be able to stand strong on my principles to really align our country with where our government's supposed to be, is one of the biggest things we need in government now, which is a huge advantage I have.
And now you got really into it, pushing back against some of the lockdowns early on, and that's been kind of what thrust you into the spotlight. But there was a lot of people that were doing that. Why were you the one that stood up and decided to run? Were other people saying you should do it, or did you kind of feel that that was your duty at that point?
My wife, we'll give the initial credit to her, asking if I was going to stand up and maybe run for office, try to, what I was doing with the fight, take it to the next level and truly make a difference. There was a lot of prayer that went into it, and yes, consulting with a few other people. And there were several people that were getting their voices heard in various capacities, but ultimately making the decision that if God keeps opening the doors, that I keep walking through the doors. And so far, lots of doors have opened up, and here we are 5 days before the election.
And 5 days before the election, I mean, the most recent polling shows basically nearly a dead heat between the 4 of you. Only a few points separates, and 30% of Republicans are undecided. I mean, is that exciting? Is that kind of scary, not knowing, like, it's so wide open and there's so much undecided the last few days?
Right. And I think that a lot of those polls are absolutely unreliable. Because I can give you another example. Yesterday, We the County put out a poll sampling a lot of their groups, and 54.5, something like 54.2% of the vote went to me. And then you saw some of the other candidates kind of filter in down below that. So, what does that mean? That's also a small sampling of people, and it doesn't truly mean what the turnout for August 2nd is going to look like. How many people weren't polled? How many issues do we have with polling with those small samples trying to manipulate? We know that when the Michigan Chamber endorsed Tudor Dixon, that there was a poll that followed showed her in the lead, and that was done by the group that owns the firm that just endorsed Tudor Dixon. So you ask what manipulation looks like there with trying to get voters to sway a certain way. We have a huge base, we have a ton of support, and it's very exciting to see what's going to happen here.
And now this is a race where pretty much all four candidates are different strategies, kind of. There's the endorsed one, the self-funded one, the grassroots, and then there's kind of you, the outsider, coming from out of nowhere with, some would say, more extreme views and whatnot. Do you feel like whoever wins, that is a statement of the strategy, or is it basically on the candidate themselves being able to pull that off, or is it making a statement for what Michigan really wants?
I'm a fighter, and I'm probably the most reasonable candidate that's in this race, wanting to uphold our Constitution and our republic. I think it's extreme what has happened over the last couple of years with the current administration, trampling on our Constitution, ignoring the actual authority they have, putting COVID-19 positive patients in nursing homes, all of the radical, extreme racial and sexual ideologies being pushed in our schools. That's extreme. I'm a reasonable family man from West Michigan that wants to see our country stay our country, and I'm willing to put up that fight.
And then also your arrest. A lot of people, probably your opponents, would have thought that was the end of you. You're done. But you actually got a boost in fundraising. You got a boost in attention. What does that say, do you think, that it didn't put an end to you, that it actually might have thrust you back in the race?
It definitely boosted. That's for sure. Name ID, fundraising followed. There's a lot of support, not just here in Michigan, but across the entire country. And people see me as a fighter that's willing to take action on the things that I'm convicted about and believe in, which is what we want in our country. People to stand and fight for what they believe in, for our country, for our Constitution, for fair and valid elections. And what they see is that this January 6th witch hunt that they continue to criminalize anybody that doesn't go along with their leftist agenda, that's just smoke and mirrors, because the true, real hardships that people across Michigan are dealing with, they're still dealing with it. And it's not going to be it's not going to be any end in sight unless we elect the right people to office. So Michigan wants a fighter, and with all this that happened with the FBI, they see that Ryan Kelley's that fighter that they're trying to silence.
If you could go back in time, would you not make that trip to D.C. and do something else to fight, or would you still go as planned?
Nothing unlawful happened, and I would happily be there exercising my First Amendment.
All right. Moving forward, whoever wins the primary, if you do win, I mean, it's a big win in August, but the main goal is to win in November. A lot of people see the Republican Party as kind of fractured right now and needs to be united. And if the party is not united, you're not going to beat Governor Whitmer. So why can people be confident that you can do that in the coming weeks after the primary? Because she's going to start unloading her war chest pretty soon once she has a target.
She will, and she's going to aim to manipulate voters just like she did in 2018. She's going to hope that everybody forgets everything that she has done over the last couple of years, and she's really going to hope that people have those short-term memories so that she can maintain power. And here's why people can feel confident that I'm going to be the one that will be able to unseat Whitmer. A, they're trying to silence me the most with these lawsuits, kicking Ryan off the ballot, the arrest, thinking that was going to slow me down, knowing that I've put the fight up against her for a very long time. Since April 30th, 2021 was when we really first started with that rally there. But, all the money in the world is not going to be able to sell a terrible message, which is what she has. She has no solutions for the state. She's going to try to paint me or whoever the person is in a very bad way. But people see through all of this nonsense right now. They're activated and engaged more so than ever. And yeah, maybe there's fracture in the Republican Party, but like I mentioned in the debate last night, I think there's a uniparty that we have in Lansing. that's not looking out for the best interest of the people by any means. They want to make the illusion of Republicans and Democrats fighting with each other. But in all reality, we see bipartisanship masked in the special interest benefiting and the politicians benefiting and not the people. And the people see that Ryan Kelley is the one that's standing and fighting for them. And they know, regardless of what the letter behind your name is, that we're bringing common sense solutions to the table that's going to be able to resonate, bringing freedom, liberty, and prosperity back to the state of Michigan. And I have the support of the people all across Michigan, and that's how we're going to win this election coming up. The ones that voted for Whitmer last time because she was going to fix the roads, they're struggling business owners that had a lot of their life savings flushed down the drain. They're not voting for her this time around.
And then you've also been a candidate that has questioned the 2020 election and how it went down and the legitimacy and everything about it. Are you worried that some Republicans, some of your supporters won't trust 2022 and just won't vote, or there won't be that turnout that you want? Even though they support you, they just don't trust the system and won't do it.
Yeah. One of the messages I've been sharing is that don't let what happened in 2020, you know, the boxes up on at the TCF, up on the windows there at the TCF Center, or, you know, the ballot drop, or, you know, the 2,000 mules, don't let that FUD you. Create fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Yes, we all have a certain degree of not trusting our government right now and the processes that we see happening in Lansing and in Washington, D.C., but we cannot give up on America. That's been one of the biggest messages that I've been sharing, is do not give up on our country. America is worth fighting for. And that includes voting in the 2022 election. That includes working the election, watching the ballot drop boxes. I just did an amazing video on Facebook, you can find it this week, about some products that provide great security to our ballot drop boxes that we're encouraging township clerks and city clerks, county clerks to take a look at using some of these products to enhance the transparency and the confidence in the voters. So yes, that's going to be looming there in the background, which is why we need someone like Christina Caramo, work with our legislature, have the right governor to put these processes in place so that we're all confident. Shouldn't matter the letter behind your name. You want to feel confident that your vote counted. And even over 50% of Democrats, according to polling data, think that there was some sort of foul play in the 2020 election. We need to correct this for all of us.
And then also, finally, there's been some talk of some Dems switching over to the Republican primary to try to influence it. We've seen advertisements attacking Tudor Dixon and some others, and some of them think let's vote for Ryan Kelley because we think he's the easiest one to beat in November. What's your feelings on that, and if that is actually going on behind the scenes?
Maybe I shouldn't give away all my strategies here ahead of time, right? But yeah, go ahead. Go in there and vote for Ryan Kelley. That would be fantastic. Let's put the check mark, projected winner, next to Ryan Kelley on Tuesday night. And you can't control how people are going to vote in the primary because it is an open primary. But you only get to pick one. You vote Democrat or you vote Republican. So if Democrats do cross over, they're not going to be able to vote in their primary for maybe congressional seats if there's races there, or House races or whatever. We know that the top three on the top of the ticket on the Democrat side are unopposed, but you know, there could be other races that they want to vote in. And there's a lot of chatter and there's a lot of talk, but until you actually go to the polls, you don't know how that's going to turn out. But let's just put it this way. I've been very underestimated in this race from the very start. I'm stepping up to the plate.
All right. And then just to give you a chance to give a closing statement or whatnot, what do you want us to know with 5 days left?
5 days from now, Michigan has a big choice to make in determining who is going to be that person that's going to go and fight to make Gretchen Whitmer a one-term governor. We know that all that she's done puts her in a vulnerable spot, but we do need to have the right candidate. I live in Allendale, Michigan. I'm married to an amazing lady. We have 6 beautiful, amazing children with each other, and I understand that we have to get this right if we want to make sure our country stays the freedom-loving country that we know. So I encourage all of you on August 2nd to go out and vote for Ryan Kelley as Michigan's next governor, so that we can get Gretchen Whitmer out of office and return our state to common sense, freedom, and prosperity.
That'll work.
There you go.